sure if I can find the button. All right, ready? Okay, good morning, everyone. We're going to let our participants get a minute here to join in on the call. So just give us a minute. I thank you for taking time out of your morning, of course, on this beautiful day to hear our first selectman of Trumbull, Vicki Tesoro. We're excited to have her on today in our series of executives from the municipalities that we represent here in the greater Bridgeport region. So as people join the call here, I will just pause for a minute and allow all of you folks who signed up and are joining in here. And as we wait, if you can, you'll see at the bottom of your screen, there is a chat button. If you can, just enter in the chat, say hello, let me know who you are, where you're listening in from, anything else you'd like to add, just to make sure that we can hear you, most importantly, and you can hear us. I'm sorry, you can hear us more than I can hear you. We are in webinar mode, so we won't be able to see or hear our participants other than the panelists that we have on today's call. But that said, when we do get to the Q&A, we should have some time at the end of this for some Q&A. If you have a question for Selectman Vicki Tesoro, you're more than welcome to ask it. I'll do my best to moderate the questions. And you can do that by either raising your hand. You'll see there's a button there that has a raise hand feature, and we will turn your audio on so you can ask your question directly. Or if you'd like to enter it in the Q&A box or in the chat, again, I'll do my best to moderate what comes in. But we are happy to have you all joining the call this morning. So thanks again for joining us. So with that said, for those of you who are on the call who may not be familiar with myself or the Trumbull Chamber of Commerce and the Bridgeport Regional Business Council, my name is Dan Onofrio. I'm the president and CEO of the Business Council, the Bridgeport Regional Business Council. And we are an umbrella managing three chambers, the Trumbull Chamber of Commerce, the Bridgeport Chamber of Commerce, and the Stratford Chamber of Commerce. And, you know, the Trumbull Chamber, one of the things that we do is host events like this, but we do a number of things working in partnership with the town of Trumbull, who, by the way, have been fantastic partners this past year, especially this past year with the pandemic. But we work in partnership with our town of Trumbull to help businesses, not only from a recruitment perspective, but also from a retention perspective. Trumbull's done a great job, especially early on in the pandemic, trying to address the workforce issue. And they've hosted several conversations related to the job opportunities of, you know, trying to help those that may have been displaced. Of course, a lot of the conversations around health and human services and trying to meet the unmet needs of the region and particularly Trumbull. They've just been fantastic partners, and they've done that with our board, our Trumbull Chamber of Commerce board. And I just want to make a hat tip to them. You know, they are all volunteers. We're a member-driven organization, but our board volunteered their time, you know, each month and more often when we have events going on, whether they're virtual or in person. And they dedicate their time to not only work with existing businesses in Trumbull, but also it's an opportunity for their business to get exposure and continue to build their networks and working together from a regional perspective, not just within Trumbull, but leveraging the Bridgeport Regional Business Council as we talk about regional activities, because together, from a regional perspective, we can accomplish a lot of things, both from an economic development perspective, as well as a public policy perspective, because the two kind of go hand in hand. So I welcome you again this morning. With that, events like today don't happen without our sponsors. So I'd like to acknowledge Sikorsky Credit Union for their sponsorship today, as well as Aquarian Water Company. And then, of course, our presenting sponsor, Newtown Savings Bank. Newtown Savings Bank is a community bank. It's headquartered in Newtown, Connecticut, with over $1.3 billion in assets. Recently named Best Small Bank in Connecticut by Newsweek, the bank has been deeply invested in the customers and community that it serves since 1855 and has 14 branches in Newtown, Bethel, Brookfield, Danbury, Monroe, Oxford, Shelton, Southbury, Trumbull, and Woodbury, along with the New Haven Regional Lending Center in Hamden, Connecticut. and plans to open in Bridgeport later this year. Newtown Savings Bank is the power of local. So with that, here's a short clip that we'd like to share with you about Newtown Savings Bank and what they've done during this past year with the pandemic.
Tell anyone that's with a big bank, you're missing what it's like.
To those naturally called to care.
To bank with friends. When you have your banker's cell phone numbers, it shows how personal the relationship can be.
When things got tough, Newtown Savings Bank was there for me. They care about my business, and they worked around the
clock and through the weekend to get my loan approved. I never felt like I was just a number. If I was with one of the bigger banks,
this would be a completely different story. But with Newtown Savings Bank, our business didn't skip a beat.
Great. Thank you so much again, Newtown Savings Bank, for being today's presenting sponsor, our first Selectman, Vicky Tesoro. So with that, I'd like to introduce a force to be reckoned with in the region, the president and CEO of Newtown Savings Bank, Ken Weinstein, who I've crossed paths with a couple of times in my short tenure here, but I know he's been a wonderful leader, not just within the bank industry, but also within the region. Ken is the president and CEO of Newtown Savings Bank, a 165-year-old mutual savings bank with 20 years of history as part of Trumbull's business community. He's a native of Trumbull and a proud 1979 graduate of Trumbull High, the Golden Eagles. He currently serves on the boards of the Greater Valley Chamber of Commerce, LifeBridge Community Services in Bridgeport, and United Way of Western Connecticut. In addition, he serves as trustee of Berkeley College and was recently elected to serve as vice chairman of America's Mutual Banks. Ken and his wife, Rita, currently live in Easton, Connecticut, where they raised their family. So Ken, welcome to today address, First Selectman's address, and the floor is yours.
Thanks very much, Dan, and good morning, everyone. It's a pleasure to be with you all this morning and to sponsor today's event. I've attended enough chamber events and have enough self-awareness to know that no one's here to hear me. So even though I love to tell people all about our bank, I'll cut right to the chase. As Dan mentioned, we're a very capable 165-year-old mutual savings bank with 20 years of growth in Trumbull that we're looking to build on. As a mutual bank, we're focused at all times on just four things: being a great place to bank, being a great place to work, having a positive impact in the community, and staying financially strong so that we will be here to serve future generations. We would love to talk with you about any current or future needs you might have, big or small, so please don't hesitate to reach out at any time if that's the case. It's my pleasure now to introduce my friend and colleague, Nancy Kuhn, who is our regional market manager for Trumbull, Monroe, Shelton, Oxford, and coming soon, our new office in Bridgeport. Nancy is housed at our Trumbull office on White Plains Road, and as most of you know, is also the chairperson of the Trumbull Chamber. In addition to her dedication to the Chamber and to Newtown Savings Bank, Nancy serves on the boards of the Trumbull Rotary, Trumbull BEI, and Hall Neighborhood House in Bridgeport, and she's going to introduce Vicky. Nancy, the floor is yours.
Thank you so much for that, Ken. Good morning, everyone. I had something to add, but I just can't even add to what Ken said, other than Newtown Savings Bank does support this community by encouraging and supporting all employees to serve on a multitude of nonprofits, not only in Trumbull, but in every town that our footprint is in. So, but enough about me. Let's get to the main event. Vicky Tesoro is a committed public servant that is now serving in her 4th year as Trumbull First Selectman. Vicky and her husband, Tom, have lived in Trumbull for over 30 years. Both of their daughters are graduates from the Trumbull Public School System. A champion of public education, Vicky serves on the PTSA for many years, where she developed an innovative teen drug and alcohol prevention program at Trumbull High School that is now being used as models in other towns. Vicky served on the town council representing District 3 and was a member of the Board of Finance. She has decades of experience as a fiduciary and individual tax consultant associated with prominent law firms in the area. Through years of service to the town of Trumbull, Vicki brings a solid understanding of the issues facing our community. She had a strong working relationship with town department heads and administrators in our school system before she became first selectman. She is a tireless advocate for all Trumbull residents and businesses. As first selectman, Vicki is committed to using her knowledge, passion, and experience to improve and enhance this wonderful town. Her vision for Trumbull is positive, transparent, and inclusive. It is an honor to introduce Trumbull's first selectman, Vicki Tesoro.
I want to thank Dan Onofrio, Kate Pippa, and the Bridgeport Regional Business Council and the Trumbull Chamber of Commerce for hosting this event. I want to thank Newtown Savings Bank for presenting this event. Thank you to Sikorsky Credit Union and Aquarian Water Company for sponsoring my address this morning. A very special thank you to all of you for joining me today. It is my hope that next year we can all come together and I can thank all of you face to face. Zoom is a wonderful tool and one that kept our community and so many others functioning at a high level. Thanks to Bill Chin and his IT team for making it easy for us. Nevertheless, it can't replace the impact of a face-to-face gathering, but today we will do our best. The COVID-19 pandemic will be featured prominently in my remarks. It has impacted everyone, but none more so than those who lost loved ones. So before I begin my presentation, I would like us all to observe a moment of silence for the residents of the greater Bridgeport area and all others who passed away as a result of the COVID-19 pandemic. Thank you. When I made this address in 2019, my closing words were, I respect our past, I have pride in our present, and I am confident in our future. Trumbull truly is the place to be. I say to you today in 2021, as we recover from a pandemic, the likes of which has not been seen in a century, Trumbull still is the place to be. While some will speak in grandiose terms about their vision for the future, my vision for our community is a simple one. A safe community, welcoming to all, affordable to all, with excellent schools, ample recreation opportunities, and quality, comprehensive services delivered in a fiscally conservative manner. In other words, the kind of community where people want to live, raise their families, and conduct business. Not an extravagant vision, but a real one, and it is happening right now. It is no accident that Trumbull is second in the state for people moving in. Those new residents had many choices, and they chose Trumbull. They chose Trumbull because they know, what we all know, that Trumbull is the place to be. Before we embark on any discussion of the town, we must address the impact of the COVID-19 pandemic on our community. As we all know, this virus knows no borders, and it attacked most violently the most vulnerable among us. My actions over the last year were guided by the principle that the health and safety of our citizens was our number one priority. We knew that by shared sacrifice and working together for a common goal, that we would not only survive, but thrive. With no playbook on which to rely and no precedents on which to draw, our employees and volunteers rose to the occasion and kept the functions of our government running smoothly. Most important, we kept both our employees and our citizens safe. I can say without hesitation that I am incredibly grateful for and proud of our first responders and town employees. We all know the great work of our first responders, the police, fire, emergency services, public works, healthcare workers, teachers, and essential workers. They have kept us safe no matter the circumstances they confronted. A thank you to these heroes is hardly enough. We've had many heroes in our community this year. People who checked in on elderly neighbors, brought the needy food, cut their lawns, and quietly assisted in so many ways. Our Community Emergency Response Team, otherwise known as CERT, and our Social Services Department have worked tirelessly to help deliver food and other resources to the needy in our community. Our residents have donated thousands of dollars to our food pantry, and I thank our state representatives who ran weekly food drives. Let me give you a few examples of the services provided to our residents by social services and our senior center. Since March 2020, 500 home-delivered meals every month, a total of 7,500 meals. 240 grocery bags every month, a total of 3,600 bags. 20 drive-through lunch and ice cream events, which averaged 150 senior participants. 123 food pantry clients with catered family dinners while in quarantine. 1,014 seniors were assisted in making COVID-19 vaccination appointments. Offered financial assistance for utilities, rent, and medical expenses. Offered seniors a friendly phone call program. Hundreds of gift cards were donated and purchased for members of the community. During this last year, we continued to deliver services to our community with no interruption. Our employees performed superbly. They have been resilient, inventive, and accommodating. Clearly, the unprecedented times have created significant challenges for our businesses, particularly our small businesses. Our Economic and Community Development team developed a proactive approach with our businesses by providing daily assistance in the form of resources, technical assistance, marketing, and other supports during this difficult time. I want to thank you, our business community, for working with us. You have donated meals, services, and so many other things to the most vulnerable. A heartfelt thank you for your generosity and perseverance. We determined early in this crisis to follow the science, state guidance, and guidance from our local health department. As our knowledge increased and the guidance became more refined, we adjusted, demonstrating the kind of flexibility needed to successfully weather the storm. We acted with an abundance of caution, and that proved to be a successful strategy. We vowed to keep our citizens informed, and we did. Some of the actions we took were modified tax deadlines, conducted job fairs for unemployed residents, kept town services functioning using hybrid scheduling for employees, implemented a tax deferment program, provided a COVID testing center at Unity Park for both residents and non-residents, ran successful vaccination programs by our health department. On the communication front, some of the actions we took and continued to take are regular robocalls to the community with COVID-19 updates, postcards to our seniors, daily updates on the town website and Facebook page, town hall meetings on Zoom. Obviously, there was much more, but our comprehensive approach proved to be successful. While there is reason for optimism that the worst is behind us, we still need to maintain discipline and restraint. A special word of thanks to our citizens, who acted with discipline, resilience, and with great care toward their neighbors. A community is made up of many things, but the most important is the people. This pandemic brought out the best in our people. Over 72% of our residents who are eligible to receive the COVID-19 vaccine have received at least the first dose. Over 60% are fully vaccinated. It is the people that make Trumbull the place to be. As I speak about the financial health of Trumbull, I want to say thank you to Maria Pires and her staff. Preparing a budget as complex as that of Trumbull is no easy task in the best of times, and it is even harder during times of crisis. With unemployment hitting double figures, others taking salary reductions, and some of our businesses closing their doors, we vowed to have no tax increase this year, while still investing in public safety, our schools, and essential services. We accomplished that by conservative budgeting and restrained spending. We also allocated $2.8 million from our Healthy General Fund, also known as our Rainy Day Fund, to cover lost revenue and expenses. This was the right thing to do. I don't know a better example of an emergency situation. The good news is that by exercising spending restraint, there appears to be a surplus in both the town and Board of Education budgets. That will reduce the amount we will need to draw from the Rainy Day Fund and leave us with an estimated $22 million in that fund. That is a healthy 12% of our annual operating budget. In the upcoming budget year, we are still faced with challenges. We must budget conservatively, giving our revenue-generating services, such as EMS, an opportunity to fully recover. Like most communities, we have used federal stimulus monies to cover anticipated revenue shortfalls in the coming fiscal year. The combination of stimulus monies, strong tax collection, and conservative budgeting has allowed us to fund our schools, public safety, and essential services while keeping the tax increase below 2%. We continue to fund our town and police pensions at the ARC. Both continue to improve, and as a community, we are committed to continue the process until both funds are 100% funded. Our tax collections remain strong, our revenues will begin to rebound, our fund balance is healthy, and our activity is robust. Financially, Trumbull is the place to be. Through all of this year, our businesses, their ownership, and employees have shown a level of resilience and commitment indicative of entrepreneurs. As I said earlier, they found ways to deliver goods and services in safety. They adapted along the way, and we want all of our businesses to know we were with you then, we are with you now, and we will be with you in the future. We set up a COVID business recovery page on our website containing information on financial, technical, and industry resources. We continue to issue updates on new information that supports our long-term business recovery. We will be launching our local meals program, which will provide $200,000 in lunches and dinners from Trumbull restaurants for our residents in need. Our restaurants took advantage of the outdoor seating latitude, and Prime 111 is investing in a permanent patio expansion, which has the community very excited. Parker's offered provision kits containing grocery items, even toilet paper, for curbside pickup. Pure Poetry offered personal shopping and curbside pickup for residents needing to buy gifts. We appreciate all of our businesses, their ingenuity, fortitude, and commitment to Trumbull. They are another example of why Trumbull is the place to be. We have seen significant private development come to fruition this year. I want to thank all of our town departments and employees who have worked diligently to keep approvals, permits, and inspections going during these difficult times. Who knew we would be doing FaceTime inspections a year ago? Our employees rose to the occasion, and these projects continued on time. The 10 Trumbull apartment complex is fully occupied. The River Valley Resort Community for individuals 55 and older is completed, and residents are beginning to move in. The Woodside Complex on the site of the former Henderson Lumber Yard is 25% occupied and continuing construction. We are monitoring all of these projects closely to assess the impact on town services. So far, the data indicates these developments will net a significant positive contribution to our grand list, while providing housing diversity for residents to stay in town, new residents to move to our great town. We have commercial developments that have been completed or are nearing completion. We know the new Starbucks at 965 White Plains Road is extremely popular. More about that later. I will say the plaza is bringing some new life to Trumbull Center. The former Marissa's restaurant site, now called Long Hill Market, is nearing completion, and the new businesses are opening between now and the end of the summer. I hope you agree the area is looking terrific. The new plaza is 85% leased already, with Echo Restaurant coming this summer, Summer Evans Salon, a physical therapy practice, a boutique martial arts studio, and the return of Dunkin' Donuts with a drive-thru. We have other new businesses in town. Capello Family Dentistry opened on Technology Drive in early December 2020. AFC Urgent Care has taken the former Chips restaurant space and is moving their corporate office staff to that space. Mariana's Pantry just opened in the former Mexon main space. It is terrific. Trumbull Cafe and Grill will be moving to a beautiful new space in Trumbull Center next to Rings End. Mex on Main moved to new space at 123 Monroe Turnpike. In our Trumbull Corporate Park, Make-A-Wish, Connecticut has created an extraordinary facility for their families. It is as if Disney World has come to Trumbull. Other small businesses are poised to open this year. We had 3 new corporations come to Trumbull and open over the past year, creating 250 new jobs. Amazon is at 7120 Main Street, the site of the former Reed's Warehouse. Power Home Remodeling has moved their headquarters and training center to the former Pilot Pen building in the Trumbull Corporate Park. And Image First Healthcare Laundry opened in the fall at 50 Commerce Drive in the Trumbull Corporate Park. Despite a tough year, Trumbull has welcomed new residential and commercial developments, new small businesses, and new corporations to town. I am pleased to say 2 long-awaited traffic signals are at final design and will be out to construction bid this summer. The installation of a light at the corner of Whitney Avenue and Main Street in Long Hill Green will improve traffic flow and safety. Extensive sidewalk installations are also funded and in design throughout Long Hill Green in order to make the area more walkable and realize the village-like atmosphere that is desired. We extended the sidewalks on Whitney Avenue from the Commercial Plaza to Dunellen Road. We are designing the next phase of sidewalk connection down Whitney Avenue to the trail. The traffic light at the entrance to the Fitness Edge Plaza on Monroe Turnpike will finally be a reality. The trail will be redirected to this new light with a safe crosswalk for trail users. In Trumbull Center, Long Hill Green, and on Monroe Turnpike, safely connecting our trail system to our commercial centers will be an asset for residents, visitors, and businesses. While we have many accomplishments to be proud of, we have challenges ahead. Our largest taxpayer, the Westfield Trumbull Mall, like many mall properties across the country, is facing significant problems due to the impact of online shopping and the pandemic. The challenge is also an opportunity. You will recall our Planning and Zoning Commission rezoned the property to a mixed-use design district in 2018. In 2020, the Planning and Zoning Commission approved the Residence on Main, a 260-unit market-rate apartment complex on the mall property. These were good first steps. We will be undertaking a world-class planning study for the mall area, and we are in the process of working with Senator Moore, the Department of Economic and Community Development, property owners, and others to raise significant funding for this effort. The plan will develop a roadmap for the transformation of the property. The community will be fully engaged as this effort goes underway. Similarly, the Trumbull Center corridor has challenges in terms of business occupancy, traffic, safety, and aesthetics. Some of these challenges have been made more problematic recently by the popularity of the Starbucks drive-thru. The Trumbull Center corridor study is underway and will set out a roadmap for the vision for the area. A community meeting will be held in the coming months for broad input into steps forward, like in Long Hill Green and on the Route 111. We have been able to access funding and bring about improvements and transformation. I hope you will all be involved as we tackle our challenges together. I just want to praise and thank our businesses and their employees again. I want to thank those investing in new projects in our town for their flexibility and commitment during these unprecedented times, and our town staff for all they do. They are outstanding professionals who really rose to the occasion to keep businesses going. I want to thank Rena Bacalar, her team, and our Economic and Community Development Commission for their outstanding results. The efforts of Rena in particular cannot be overstated. Businesses in Trumbull could not have a better advocate. Our ability to keep taxes in check while improving services in our schools happens to a great degree because of the economic development she attracts and retains. I thank you, and our taxpayers thank you too. The business community continues to show confidence in our town. They know, as we do, that economic growth is not sustainable with unchecked spending and dramatic tax increases. Our residents and our businesses alike demand fiscal prudence as the cornerstone of our budget process. We have delivered, and we will continue to do so. Businesses large and small know that Trumbull is the place to be. As I move to our infrastructure, a word of thanks to Public Works Director George Estrada and to our Parks and Recreation Director Dimitri Paris. They keep our roads passable in the worst of weather maintain our roads and buildings, and keep our beautiful parks clean and safe. They see to it that our recreation programs and pools run smoothly and efficiently. Too often, we take their work for granted. In difficult times, it is easy to postpone investment in the infrastructure of our community. I think that is a mistake. The longer you wait, the worse it gets, and the costs continue to climb. I want to see our roads paved, the walkability of our town enhanced, and our parks and public spaces maintained. We did so, and we will continue to do so. Strobel Road, Chestnut Hill, and Moose Hill Road have all been paved and re-engineered. A light and turn lane was added at the intersection of Strobel Road and Daniels Farm Road to improve safety and traffic flow. This year, Teller Road will be repaved, and our paving of Madison Avenue will continue. Our plan to pave our side roads continues, and you can see the plan on the town website. Many of these improvements are being done at no cost to the taxpayers, but instead are being funded through a combination of grants or state funding. Our education system is a cornerstone of our community. The excellence of our teachers, coupled with outstanding administrators, gives Trumbull a reputation for excellence in education. That well-earned reputation acts as a magnet for families looking for a system that will allow their children to reach their potential. A strong education system benefits everyone by enhancing property values, attracting new citizens who bring new ideas and energy to our community. This year was particularly challenging for our education system. The new Board of Education discovered fiscal practices that fell short of accepted accounting norms, resulting in a potential deficit for the budget. I called for an operational audit and was supported by the town council. I am pleased to say that the Board of Education embraced the recommendations of the outside auditor and are implementing recommendations as we speak. In addition, with a healthy budget surplus, the Board of Ed will be using some of those funds to replenish accounts that were depleted by the previous Board of Education. This will improve the financial health of the school system. On top of that, a new superintendent and business manager needed to be hired, a budget crafted, and remote and hybrid learning implemented. I am pleased to say that our system rose to the occasion. The results speak for themselves. Our athletic teams continue to excel. Our academic teams are in many instances the gold standard to which other school systems aspire, and our graduates continue to excel in business, college, and the military. Our award-winning high school musical production was renewed with a performance adapted to COVID-19 circumstances. We adapted, we innovated, and we were successful. I remain committed to opposing school regionalization. This is not needed in Trumbull, and I fully support school resource officers in our schools. I am committed to looking for efficiencies between the Board of Education and the town. Those discussions are underway. When I was elected, I committed to accelerating investment in our school system. Including this coming budget year, my administration will have added $12 million to the Board of Ed budget. This accelerated investment has allowed us to maintain our great reputation. I believe that investment in education is a wise investment. Our strong property values, coupled with the success of our students, shows that our investment continues to be successful. Thanks to our new superintendent, Dr. Martin Semmel, public safety has always been and will always be one of my most important priorities. This was never more evident than during this pandemic. Led by Police Chief Michael Lombardo, EMS Chief Lee Goodman, Health Director Lucy Bango, Fire Marshal and Emergency Management Director Megan Murphy, Public Works Director George Estrada, and Human Resources Director Tom McCarthy, and their respective teams collectively and cooperatively, were able to keep our residents and our employees safe and secure. Whether it be responding to health or police emergencies, plowing our roads, cleaning up after major weather events, or setting up testing and vaccination sites, these great leaders have stepped up and been a beacon of stability in the most difficult of times. Our amazing fire departments and all the selfless volunteers who make up their teams deserve recognition for their outstanding performance each and every year. My administration has done its part as well. We funded our police. We brought in-house our EMS responders for better service to Trumbull. We have invested in equipment, training, and technology, and we will continue to do so. Whether it be adding security to our parks, renovating the police station, or building the beautiful Long Hill Fire Department headquarters, our community and my administration have not talked about supporting our first responders. We have done it, and we will continue to do so. I want to thank one more team of people whose tireless efforts often go unrecognized. My staff, Kathy McGannon, Cindy Katsky, and Alicia Altobelli, make our town tick. They plan events like our Egg Hunt, our Memorial Day Parade, the First Selectman's Golf Classic, and returning this summer on July 2nd and 3rd, Trumbull Day. This is a small fraction of what they do. They and the volunteers who support them make our community special. Assisting them as a volunteer is Kathy Champion, and I was very proud to appoint Kathy, the daughter of a police officer and the niece of police officers, to our police commission, where she will do an outstanding job, bringing energy and insight to the role. This has been a long address, and we have covered much ground. I appreciate your patience and your attention. I close with this. It is tough to be a community of choice in the best of times. However, it is in difficult times that the true character of a community is revealed. In 2020, we saw that Trumbull is resilient, it is strong, and it is compassionate. As this pandemic recedes, we have much to be proud of and much to celebrate. Trumbull is a great community, populated with great citizens, supported by tremendous town employees. Truly, Trumbull is the place to be. Thank you.
That was a great message there, Vicki. If you can get your video up and running here, and we will move into a Q&A, but as you get going, I wanted to invite you. There you are. Hello. So weird, you know, all this Zoom stuff, but I did want to give you an opportunity before. I've got a bunch of questions, and I would like to remind those listening that if you would like to ask a question, you can raise your hand using the feature down at the bottom, or you can enter it in the chat or the Q&A. I'll do my best to get to it. But before we get into that, Vicki, would you like to add any other comments before we get to the Q&A?
Yeah, just a couple. Thanks, Dan. Thank you to everyone again who joined this webinar this morning. This certainly is a different way to do this than we've done it before, but I guess we're all used to webinars and Zoom meetings. I'm certainly, as I said in my speech, looking forward to being able to be in person next year, because it is very strange to watch yourself give a speech. It's just an odd sensation, to say the least. But anyways, just a thank you again to Dan, to Kate, to Newtown Savings Bank, to Aquarian Water Company, and to the Sikorsky Credit Union for sponsoring this event. We couldn't do it without you. Normally, at the end of my address, I present the first Selectman's Award for Community Service. I was able to do that in 2018 and 2019. And of course, last year we weren't able to do this at all. So we missed that year completely. But in any case, this year, I've decided to do something a little bit different since, as we all know, this has been a year like no other. So there are so many people who have stepped up in these difficult times. It is really impossible to single out just one. So instead, I've decided to present the first Selectman's Award to all the first responders in Trumbull, including the police, EMS, our volunteer fire departments, our health department, school nurses, our emergency management directors, our teachers, administrators, and staff at our public and private schools, our citizen volunteers, our town employees, all our essential employees and workers, and our health professionals. I thank each and every one of them who made daily sacrifices to keep us safe and deliver the services that our community needed. The first Selectman's Award is meant to recognize extraordinary public service. It's fitting that this year the award goes to those whose dedication and commitment to our community was exemplary in every way. So thank you again. A little bit different this year, but as I said, this certainly has been a year like no other.
That's great, Vicki. Thank you so much for calling them out. And yeah, I had the pleasure of serving on the long-term recovery committee with the town of Trumbull and some of the area municipalities, and those calls have always been very fruitful in terms of the dialogue and how everyone really just has stepped forward and really trying to do everything they can to help not just the residents, but businesses and everyone within the community. So hats off to all of the folks receiving the first Selectman's Award. That's great news. So as we get into Q&A, I would like to also recognize and invite, as you called out, Rena Bacalar, who is the Director of Economic and Community Development in Trumbull, who's done a great job. She's been a wonderful resource for me personally, related to connecting with businesses in Trumbull and trying to do what we can for businesses. So welcome, Rena. But my first question is for you, Vicki. And it's really to piggyback off of the COVID stuff. And, since it was a big part of this past year, as you know, and as we look forward to coming out of this, but is there any additional information about the vaccination rate in Trumbull? I know there's a lot of positivity from what we're hearing in the papers, but specific to Trumbull, is there something that you can add to that information?
Yeah, Dan, thanks. Those numbers obviously change almost every day, but we have on our website a COVID-19 dashboard. It's called, that anyone in town can go and check where we are and look at our progress. So just a few numbers that I grabbed off of there this morning, because I thought maybe that'd be a question that might come up. So as I said it in my speech, over 60% of our residents in town who are eligible to be vaccinated are fully vaccinated. So that's a great number. We're actually over the national trend, which is about 50%. And because of that, our cases in Trumbull have dropped over the last 2 weeks. We have only 15 new cases, one over the last week. So that number has significantly dropped from where it was, certainly in the winter time when we were in one of the peaks. So just to give you some numbers, to anyone who's interested in numbers like I am, 19,586 of our residents are fully vaccinated. 22,570 of them have been administered at least the first dose. And 83% of the people over 75 have at least received the first dose of the vaccine. So that 83% number is incredible, really. It just speaks to the how important certainly our seniors knowing that they're the most vulnerable to become really sick from the virus, and know that how important it is to become vaccinated. So there's just a few numbers there, Dan, to share.
Great, thanks for that update. Yeah, it's always curious to see, how each municipality is, reporting on it. And I know we don't get a lot of questions at the Business Council in the Chamber, but I know people are always curious to see where people are, and I think it adds to the confidence as we continue to loosen up the restrictions and as we move forward. So thanks for adding that.
Just as a follow-up, but I just need always to thank the health department and our school nurses and our citizen volunteers. We had over 100 volunteers step up to help us at our vaccination clinics. Those people in the community, out of the goodness of their heart, and they've worked very hard over the last few months helping us to vaccinate as many people in this community as we have. So thank you to them again. Great.
So moving along to some infrastructure stuff, and I'm personally super excited about the trail work that's being done going into the town center. My kids like to bike, and we often hit the trail there, and just seeing the expansion and just from a business perspective, the opportunities there, for families walking, biking, making a pit stop at Sunny Days or any of the other businesses for a little treat as you get into town. But one of the things that always comes up, especially, and I think you alluded to it with the walking clinic setting up where the old Chips was, what is the update with the light or potential light at the Fitness Edge Plaza?
Okay, I'll give a quick overview and then I'll turn it over to Rena. She can fill in more details, but certainly, as you probably heard when I talked that in my speech, this has been an ongoing issue. Everyone knows it has for a number of years. We believe that the construction of that light will begin this summer. There are some easements that needed to be obtained, approvals from the state. But certainly, I believe that this is coming to the end, or the beginning, I should say, of a new safety program for that area, that light will be constructed at that intersection with where the fitness edge is, and that the trail crossing will actually be brought up to that light instead of where it is now. But I'm going to let Rena just give you some more information about that.
Well, I think Vicki hit it. This is a real project. This is a 2021 project. I see that Mark DePeckel, the owner and developer of 48 Monroe Turnpike's on the event today. He recently signed off an easement for us to allow the project to go forward, as have the other property owners that are affected. And as a result of those all being signed, we are up at the state just waiting for what they call our final notice to proceed. Once we get that, we are out to construction bid. The only delays we might encounter, Dan, are that the equipment for the light, given the supply chain issues and the limitations of who makes that equipment in our area, our country actually, might be a little delayed, but we are fully going out to construction bid as soon as we get our notice to proceed. So this is a 2021 endeavor.
Excellent. Thanks for that update, Rena. Yeah, that tends to come up pretty often when I'm speaking to businesses and even just people in general. They're like, what's going on over there? So thanks for that update. Appreciate that. Vicki, if you don't mind, I'd like to just go back to the COVID questions again, just for a second, because we had a question come in from Mark Block related to the municipal buildings reopening. Do you have a sense as to what the process is like, or what process your administration is going to go through in reopening to the public, the municipal buildings?
Sure. I issued one of my many robocalls last week, May 18th, and updated the community as to our timetable for bringing back our employees, all of them in person. But I just need to make sure that the community knows that all of our town buildings have been reopened since July 1st, 2020. We have been working with a hybrid schedule to keep our employees and the citizens of this community safe. And it has worked, as I said in my speech. And that is definitely one of my highest priorities, obviously, during a pandemic, is to keep the community safe, keep our employees safe. So the transition back to full in-person, we're in the process of doing that, but we have to make sure we do it again safely. So our target date is June 21st, which is 3 weeks away. We're going to do that, making sure that we have adequate space in our building. Remember, you can't compare every community to every other community. You know, our buildings, our town hall when we were in full in person, is jammed. We have no room in this building to actually bring in anyone else, what I would call in a safe way, because we're just so full packed in here. We don't have the space that, say, maybe Fairfield has. So I don't like comparing ourselves to other communities. We're doing what we believe is best for our community in a cautious and safe way to keep our employees safe, to keep the public safe. And that's what we'll continue to do so. So we're targeting June 21st. I mean, if you look at what the governor has said, he said he's bringing back all the employees, but not really, because you have to look very carefully at what he said. He's looking at basically at a 50% target number for all the state employees by July 1st. So we're going to do that as safely as we can. Again, as I said, looking at space constraints, looking at our employee vaccination rates, and making sure we continue to follow the state guidance, which I will tell you basically almost changes every day. And just as a follow-up, I don't mean to talk for too long here, Dan, but I am going to do another robocall this afternoon, because as I say, state guidance changes almost daily. Last week, when I did my robocall and told everyone that our town pools will be open this summer, I said that you were going to need to make reservations again, like we did last year, because that was the guidance of the Department of Public Health, the State Department of Public Health. Well, guess what? They changed their guidance late last week, and reservations will no longer be needed. So that's really good news for the public. But that's what I mean. We want to do this cautiously and carefully to keep the public safe, just like as we have done all year long.
Yeah, and that's appropriate. And I'm seeing that on the business side too, with with the restrictions getting lifted last week. It's not like the virus is gone, and I think so. Everyone has to do what's appropriate for their business and their space, and so that is the responsible approach. So thank you for answering that question there, Vicki. So moving back to projects, right? So what's the update? What's the status on that large project slated for 48 Monroe Turnpike, the former United Healthcare property? Is there anything that you can add related to that?
So I'll begin, and again, I'll let Rena fill in the details. So that project, everyone probably knows, is we're very excited about the project, although it has not been able to really move forward, and I'll just touch on that in a minute. So that's a 250,000 square foot building, and the developer is looking to propose or has proposed a continuum of housing there for services for people 55 and older. And it's right now, or it's going to begin working its way through the land use process again. So it's a development that is going to include active units for active adults, independent living, and memory care units, as well as assisted living. So as we know, the Trumbull Planning and Zoning Commission approved a zone change and amendment for the site. The decision was under appeal, and the appeal was dismissed recently. So the developer intends on pursuing an inland wetlands application and a site plan in the coming months. So again, this is such an important project for our community in so many ways. It's important for our seniors, and it's important for every single taxpayer and resident, businesses alike in this community, because it will bring in over $2 million to Trumbull's grand list. So we're really looking forward to this project being able to move forward. So with that, I'll turn it back to Rena.
Thank you, Vicki. Again, Mark DePeckel, the owner of that property and developer, is on today, and we appreciate all of his involvement in the community. And thankfully, the first zone change appeals were denied. I have a good update from yesterday. They've submitted their wetlands application, which will be accepted at the June meeting. So they will begin their wetlands process. That means in July. So the next steps in moving that development are going forward. Unfortunately, we do anticipate that those next steps may be appealed, delaying the project. But nevertheless, the project is moving forward, and we are very excited about it. So thanks for asking, Dan.
Yeah, no, it's a project that the Trumbull Chamber supported as well, as you recall. So,
right.
Yeah, so that's great. Good news. I mean, look, good things sometimes take time. So we'll work through it, right?
So, Dan, if I could, I just want to also thank Mark for sticking with us. It's just a great development, and we're really looking forward to the day when they can really break ground and make this a reality.
Great. Okay, let's talk about all the fun developments that are going on, right? So there's this transformation that we're seeing in real time on Lindeman Drive. Some of it's a bit dramatic, right? Are you seeing more new businesses being drawn to the area as a result of all the new development and the investment there? I mean, what's your thought process around all that activity on Lindeman Drive?
Well, yes, certainly. Those projects, the developments over on Lindeman and Reservoir really have transformed that area. If you haven't gone down and seen the difference there, you should take a drive and take a look as to how that area, as I said, has just transformed. And it definitely has attracted new businesses, and that is certainly one of the benefits of developing an area and transforming an area. So DeVita Dialysis is there. There's a new preschool there called the Educational the Learning Experience Preschool, excuse me. CES Regional Education Center and the Tiger Academy both have expanded their existing businesses. ICE Transportation, Special Needs Transportation System, transportation business is there as well now. So again, I believe, and Rena, you can correct me if I'm wrong, there's $125 million of new investment in this one area of town. And that's just incredible. So Rena, if you got anything to add?
So, we also are going to be welcoming on June 1st, West Hartford Lock acquired Linquist Supply, and they are moving to 30 Lindeman Drive. So there'll be new business right there on Lindeman Drive. We're really excited about welcoming them to our community. We are talking with other businesses that are now looking at the dynamic activity happening in that neighborhood and looking at space there. When I came here in 2016, that neighborhood was over 60% vacant. And as Vicki stated, we have $125 million worth of new development there. We have residents mixing with businesses, recreation businesses, light industrial businesses. And I am sure that we will have other kinds of amenities coming to the neighborhood, like we just had the preschool open, daycare and preschool. So we're really excited about that neighborhood. And I just want to recognize Rob LaBrandy, our town planner, has been working with our consultants in the community and our commissions and so forth. We just completed, at Vicki's request, a mini master plan for that area. So we are also looking at what the public investment needs to be to tie everything together. I believe that 2023 potentially we're slated to repave the area after all the construction's finished. Rob is working on sidewalk installations there that are paid for as off-site improvements from some of the developers in the area. So we are going from an area that was underperforming to probably what will be a real story to tell people around the state and perhaps even broader than that. So we're very excited about it. Thank you for asking, Dan.
No, my pleasure. Okay, how about let's move over to Long Hill Green. Obviously seeing everything happening there is pretty exciting as well. So can you tell us more about the new businesses coming in and any other improvements we can expect in the Long Hill Green area?
Yeah, I have to just say that area is just so magnificent looking. It is just, again, that whole Long Hill Green over the last several years has just changed that whole part of town. I'm lucky I live over in that area of town, so I get to see it every day and I make sure I drive by, and everyone's excited with the new Dunkin' Donuts drive-through, another drive-through in town, 21st century, we finally made it, so so yes, so as I said when I was speaking, that 85% of that development is already leased, which is pretty amazing, before anyone really opens their doors, although Dunkin' Donuts is open for business. So again, we have Echo Restaurant, which will be there opening in the summertime. We have the Summer Evans Salon, physical therapy practice, a boutique martial arts, and of course, as I said, the return to Dunkin' Donuts. So, that whole area, again, has transformed with sidewalks. We have a sidewalk now that goes down from the other plaza down to Dun Ellen. We're in the process of designing a sidewalk now to go from Dun Ellen to the trail. Again, looking to safety and walkability of the area, because that is what the future is. People want to be able to walk and to visit, and we have a village district to enhance that. So there's more to come there. The traffic light at Whitney and Main Street, that also is a reality. And hopefully, again, we'll go to construction this summer. I will let Rena talk about that a little bit more, but we already changed and enhanced that intersection by adding that right-hand turn lane from Whitney onto Main Street. It made that intersection so much better than it was, and it will be even better when that traffic light is installed. So Rena, do you have anything to add?
Just that we're finalizing the easements for the traffic light application. That will then again go, once we have all the easements in place, because we do have a lot of work to do to align driveways for some of those commercial property holders on Main Street, right where Whitney meets Main. So then it will go for our approval and our notice to proceed from the state. It is a fully funded project. We have sidewalk installations that will happen. They are funded through grants that we applied for. from Gisela Drive all the way down Main Street to Whitney, where the light will be. On the Long Hill Market side, we have funding, same funding to connect sidewalks all the way through there to the crosswalk, all the way around Broadway. That will be walkable for visitors, businesses, employees, residents to come. And so, you know, expect more transformation of the green space there. We have some other things planned to clear that space out and make it more inviting for people to bring their families or bring their food out there or have little events there. All of that is coming. It takes time, but I assure you that we have a team that meets once a month for this area, for the Route 111 area, and for the Trumbull Center area. And we're all working, every department, George Estrada, his team, Chief Lombardo, his team, all of us are working together to facilitate improvements to these areas.
Great. Thanks for that update. It is an incredible transformation. So I know we're up at the hour, and I want to just acknowledge our sponsors. I'm seeing some people having to drop off. And I just want to acknowledge, yes.
Dan, excuse me, I'm sorry. Can we go another couple minutes only because there's a couple more things in the chat, questions that I saw.
Yeah, I'm going to get there. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Go ahead.
I was planning on it. I have another question for you too, but
okay,
I just wanted to, I know people are dropping off, so I just want to acknowledge
great.
Sikorsky Credit Union again, Newtown Savings Bank, of course, our presenting sponsor, and of course, Aquarian Water Company, who all three have been great partners of ours in the community. So let me see here. There are a couple questions that I saw pop up in the chat. One is for you, Rena, in terms of the Home Depot space. I know that's come up periodically. So is there anything that you can add related to that? I know everyone talks about Trader Joe's. You know, it's like the running joke in the region.
Yeah, we don't meet their demographics right now for expansion, unfortunately. But, you know, we always keep pushing for another grocery store in town. So who knows? A bakery and a grocery store I'm going to die trying, I tell you. So that space behind Home Depot, so far, I don't know of anything specific that is looking to locate there. We've had inquiries. I know the property owners have explored some things there. You know, it is an easy space in this retail environment. It's not on the street level. It's tucked in the back, but there are some advantages to being there. So we have to find the right type of business that works for the space, and also understanding that when Home Depot comes into an area, they have a lot of restrictions within their lease in terms of what can be adjacent to them. So it's a little more complicated than people might know to locate a business in that environment. But we're continuing to try, and I know that the property owners are continuing to look for tenants for that area.
Great, thanks for that update. Vicki, was there something else you saw in here? I just scanned through.
I saw a couple things in that same question to Rena about Home Depot, the residents. Somebody asked about the sign-in sheet at the tax office, if it was a privacy issue.
Okay, sorry, I overlooked that.
No, that's okay. I just want to make sure I address it. So, so I don't believe it is, but we'll look into that. What we do is we have people sign in when they come into town hall, and that's primarily for contact tracing purposes, so that we know if there's a case in the office here and somebody was in wherever they were, we need to know that they were there so that we can contact them. Certainly, as you know, the cases have started to rapidly decrease, that you know, certainly hopefully will no longer be an issue. But as you said, Dan, the virus is still here, so we will still need to be cautious. So that, I think that answers that question. And somebody asked to mention about the new veterans building. So yes, you know, that definitely will be a great addition to the town. And Rena, you want to just give a quick, just 2-second update about that building?
Sure. That project, the town has dedicated the property. The town dedicated $200,000 for the engineering and design. We received a grant from the state for site preparation and demolition of the existing building, which will get underway this summer, hopefully. And we're pursuing construction funding. The project is 100% designed and shovel ready. As recently as yesterday, Vicki and I had a conversation. I won't get into the details about avenues we're pursuing for construction funding. Former First Selectman Ray Baldwin chairs the building committee, and it's a very excellent building committee that's very excited to support the project. So it's going to be a great addition to town, and this facility will be for veterans and for their needs, not just for meetings, but those included meetings and events, but access to health services, access to jobs and workforce training. It'll be a center for first responders like our police department to be able to utilize for training. They have really not adequate facilities to do so in the area currently. Our small businesses will be able to use it, our Trumbull Chamber, our Rotary, our civic organizations. I hope to use it along with my commission, the Economic Community Development Commission, to offer small business workshops and supports, especially as we recover from what we've just been through. So that's the intent of the building. That's where it stands right now.
Great. And while you were speaking there, there was a question on the Starbucks drive-through that came through. Where are we with that? Any updates on the drive-through situation at Starbucks, which is a common theme, not just in Trumbull, but many of the Starbucks.
So yes, you know, we've addressed that issue right from the start when we saw that there was a problem there, and it's not really, I don't want to say it's a problem. It's a very popular destination for people, and obviously people want to get their coffee most hours of the day. So so we met with the owner of the property, and they made changes right within the parking lot there. They put new signage up. They put another lines down to help people queue in the right lane. And you know, we have had meetings with the state already about the intersection of Daniels Farm Road and White Plains Road. That is the intersection that leads right into that plaza. So again, I'll turn it to Rena. She can give you a quick update about the Trumbull Center Corridor Study and where we are with that intersection.
Yes, so we've hired a consulting team. I believe the date is going to be June 23rd. We're going to have a community input session, but we'll post that and publicize it broadly. We were finalizing the date on calendars for some of the key folks that have to be a part of that. We have a study that's going on to look at the whole corridor from Tate Road to Reservoir. We're going to look at everything from traffic, from roadway changes, from safety to aesthetics to other things that will complement the business environment and the experience in that corridor. So I hope folks will get involved. We'll be talking to you, Dan, in the chamber about your involvement in that study as well. What we've seen is when we've planned like this and we've set out a roadmap and a prioritized plan for improvements like in Long Hill Green, that these plans don't sit on a shelf. They do serve as our roadmaps to transform the area, and that is what is underway now. I can tell you with regard to the Starbucks drive-through, there is a 15-car queue, but it's not adequate. We're in a pandemic. We don't have a lot of drive-throughs in town, and Starbucks is enormously popular, more popular than I even thought. So it has lent to some challenges. I expect that with some changes that we're making, we have some short-term changes we're asking the DOT to look at in terms of additional signage on the roadway to direct drivers, striping, and arrows on the road. Folks have been asking, can we change the lights, the traffic lights, and add turn signals and so forth? And the challenge we have is the equipment that currently is in place for that entire intersection does not have the capacity to do everything that we'd like to do. So we are looking with the state and our regional planning agency called the MetroCog, and with the town engineer, Bill Maurer's been fantastic, and George Strada's team. We're looking at concepts for that intersection and the re-signalization of the entire intersection. Now that's a major project, and we are also on a parallel track looking to identify funding for that major project because it will be in the millions to do that. So that's a transformation over time, but we are looking at short-term improvements. And I might add that the Planning and Zoning Commission, while once approved, they don't have purview over private property. They did recently submit a letter to, I believe, Starbucks asking them to consider perhaps some things that other groups do, other fast food or drive-throughs do, where they go out and they take an order differently into the parking lot to facilitate, or whatever other changes that they could look at to, facilitate the drive-through quicker. I want to say the folks that work at Starbucks, I've talked to some, they're wonderful people, and they're really trying to move people through quickly too. So I know it's a challenge, but we're trying on all fronts to get it more manageable. One of the problems is the whole situation has been exacerbated by the fact that we've been installing the Quantic River Trail through there, that we're making improvements to the trail parking area, so cars are using other areas. So there's a lot going on at the same time. We just ask people for their patience and to be careful. And if the drive-through line gets to a certain point, it would be better to either come back at another time or to park and to go in. And I know that won't solve everything either. So we got to work on all fronts, and we need everybody's cooperation. Thank you. Thanks
for that update. Excellent. All right, one last question for you, and I'll let you lovely women get back to your jobs. Trick question here for you. Now that things are opening up with the with the pandemic and all that, what are you both most excited to happen this summer, or what are you most looking forward to this summer? with the mask wearing kind of going away and all that stuff. What are you most excited about?
Well, go ahead, Rena.
No.
Well, I mean, just like everybody else, I'm excited that we're looking at what may be a more normal summer, to be able to enjoy our families, go out to restaurants, go to the beach, go to the pools, just like we have always done in the past. You don't know how lucky you are until something is taken away from you. And I think we all appreciate everyone, all of each other more. And so I'm just looking forward to more normalcy. And as I said, we hopefully see the light at the end of the tunnel, but I keep saying, we just hope the light stays on. And that's, and we all just work together and make sure that our community stays as wonderful as it is. And just as an ending, so I'll stop talking here. I do want to thank our town, our citizens in our town once again, for their patience, their cooperation, their resilience. It's been a tough year for everybody. They know, like our town employees know, when we closed the town hall to the public back in March of 2020, we didn't stop delivering our services. We seamlessly went into remote mode and continued to deliver our services, our critical town services, our regular town services to our to the citizens of this town, to our citizens and our businesses. So I don't want anyone to think that we've been closed for business here in Trumbull. We have not. In fact, just the opposite. We were open immediately, stayed open, never closed. And again, we continue to deliver those services for our residents and our businesses. So thank you, Dan.
Thank you. Rena, how about you? What are you looking forward to?
Live music, Dan. I'm a live music person. So
Excellent.
I can't wait to see more live music. And I just want to say, from me, and I know I speak for the town employees and leadership and department heads and so forth, Vicki, thank you for your leadership. Thank you for caring about us at the level that you do. Thank you for leading with the steady hand and the diligence. This woman has worked 24 hours a day. I actually was worried for her. She doesn't sleep. She studies. She reads everything. She is on top of it. She had the deepest care and concern for every single person that this was affecting, our businesses, our residents, our elderly, our children. And she took this as seriously as I've ever seen anybody. And I got to tell you, from the bottom of my heart, we appreciate you. You've done a spectacular job. Your video and presentation today, really, even for me, who's in the day to day with you, really was unbelievable to look at that recap. So thank you for your leadership. You're an awesome woman and a great leader.
Thank you.
And a great person to work with as well. So. And I echo everything that Rena said. You just stole my thunder, because I was basically going to say the same thing in my closing, but it's okay. I ditto that. So with that, I thank you both very much for your time this morning. I thank all the participants who joined us in their busy schedules today. And with that, we will close. And as always, if there's any questions anyone has of the chamber or the business council, please reach out to us. We're always happy to help you and connect you with the resources that you may need. So thank you for Selectman Vicky Tesoro and Rena Bacalar. Always a pleasure to see you both. And have a great, fantastic rest of the week and a holiday weekend ahead on Memorial Day.
Thanks, Dan, and thank you, Nancy.
Take care, folks. Bye-bye. Have a great day. Oh, thanks,
Bye.
Nancy. Yes,
Thank you.
there you are. And Ken, yes, I appreciate you all. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Have a good day, everybody.
Great day.
Bye.
Yep.